there, and welcome to the deep dive. Ever really stop to properly think about you? Not just, what you look like, but your personality, what you're good at, what you believe in. It's a pretty big question, right? Today, we're embarking on a really fascinating deep dive into what shapes our self-concept. We're going to explore all the surprising influences, the things that help us form that picture of ourselves, and honestly, why understanding them really matters. Our mission today is basically to give you a bit of a shortcut, yeah? To understand these complex forces shaping how you feel about who you are. We're pulling out the most important insights from our sources. So let's start with the basics. What is self-concept? Our sources define it pretty clearly. It's how we see and evaluate ourselves. It includes things like personality traits. Maybe you think I'm creative or I'm dependable. It also covers abilities like I'm a good listener, your values, even the roles you play, like being a student or a friend. Or sometimes it's maybe I'm not very athletic. That's part of it too. Okay, here's a good one for you to think about right off the bat. How do you think self-concept is different from, say, self-esteem? They sound similar, don't they?
They do, and people mix them up all the time. It's a really common point of confusion. But our materials make a good distinction. Self-concept is more descriptive. It's the what. Like, I am quiet or I am good at math. It's the description you hold.
Okay, so it's a label, almost.
Sort of, yeah. Whereas self-esteem is the evaluation of that label. It's how you feel about being quiet or how you value being good at math. So self-concept might be, I'm a musician, but self-esteem is, I feel good about my musical skills. Or maybe I wish I were better. It's that judgment piece.
Gotcha. That makes sense. The what versus the how I feel about the what.
Exactly. And we'll see how these different influences we talk about today can hit both, really.
Okay, let's unpack this then. If self-concept is how we see ourselves, this kind of internal picture,
Right.
what are the big forces out there that actually create that view? Have you ever wondered why you see yourself the way you do? It doesn't just appear out of nowhere, right?
Not at all. Our sources break it down into several key areas. You've got your family values and expectations, obviously huge. Then there are peer relationships, your social groups, big ones, plus media and cultural messages. They're everywhere. And of course, your own personal successes and failures, what you actually do. Oh, and we shouldn't forget your school environment, teachers, that whole setting. It all feeds in.
Wow, okay. That's quite a list.
It is. And what's fascinating here, I think, is that self-concept isn't something you're just born with, like eye color. It's constantly being built and, importantly, rebuilt throughout your life, especially during adolescence. That's a really intense period of construction, you could say.
Like you're a sculptor, maybe.
Yeah.
And all these things are the tools or the clay.
That's a great way to put it, exactly.
Yeah.
You're working with all these different materials and influences. So thinking about that list, family, friends, media, experiences, school, if you had to guess right now, just thinking about your own life, which one do you reckon has the strongest impact during those teen years?
That's tough, I guess. Maybe friends. Or perhaps family still. Let's dive into that. Let's start where most of our stories begin. With family. Our sources really highlight how incredibly influential parents and caregivers are right from the get-go.
Absolutely. They're often our first mirror.
Yeah, they communicate values, don't they? Like what's important in your household. They offer praise, which feels great and builds you up, or sometimes criticism, which can also shape you, maybe not always in the way you'd like.
And that positive support from family, feeling seen, feeling valued for who you are. Our sources show that leads to stronger self-confidence, higher self-esteem, too. Yeah.
Just
makes you feel fundamentally okay.
But what about the flip side? Like negative feedback or maybe really unrealistic expectations. What does that do?
Well, our sources suggest they can create a lot of pressure and self-doubt if you feel like you constantly have to meet this standard that doesn't feel like you or maybe feels impossible.
Yeah, that sounds stressful.
It really is. It brings up this important question. When your family has certain ideas about who you should be or, what you should achieve, how does that sit with how you genuinely see yourself? Does that match up?
A clash. Yeah.
Can family expectations sometimes clash with how you see yourself? It's definitely something worth thinking about for a moment. That tension is pretty common.
Okay, so family lays the foundation. But then, especially as you get older, things expand, right? Here's where it gets really interesting, particularly for middle school and high school ages. Beyond family, who else has a huge say in how you feel about yourself?
Friends.
Your friends, exactly. Our sources emphasize that peer approval affects self-concept so strongly in the teen years. It's like your friends become this other kind of mirror, maybe a social mirror.
That's a perfect term for it. A social mirror.
And supportive friends, the ones who get you, they can make you feel like, okay, I belong here, I matter.
Yeah, they validate you.
But we've all seen or maybe even felt the sting of negative peer pressure, right? Or being left out. That can really make you think, I'm not good enough, or what's wrong with me?
Definitely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, psychologically speaking, it's all about navigating that really strong desire to fit in versus, well, staying true to yourself.
That's a constant balancing act, isn't it?
It really is. It's a delicate balance,
Uh-huh.
which leads to a good challenge, maybe something to consider. How can you protect your own sense of self, your self-concept, when friends might be pressuring you to be someone you're not, or maybe do things you're uncomfortable with?
Whoa, that's a tough one. Requires some real inner strength, I
It
guess.
does. Self-awareness, too.
Okay, so we have family, we have friends, but we're also swimming in this giant ocean of messages from the wider world, aren't we? Let's talk about media and culture.
The big picture stuff.
Yeah. Our materials point out how media often shows us these idealized lifestyles, these specific beauty standards, these amazing success stories. You know, the ones everyone looks perfect, doing perfect things.
Yeah. The highlight reel.
Totally. And it's hard not to compare yourself sometimes, isn't it?
It's almost automatic.
And then there's social media. Oh boy. Those likes and comments, they can give you a quick boost, sure.
A little dopamine hit.
Right. But they can also really mess with your head, hurt your self-concept if you don't get them, or if you see negative stuff.
Definitely. Comparison culture is rampant there.
But it's not just like TikTok trends, right?
Yeah.
Cultural traditions also play a big part. They guide our identity with certain values, roles, expectations about who we should be based on our background.
That's a really important layer. And what's fascinating here, going back to social media for a sec, is that it can be such a paradox.
How so?
Well, like you said, the comparison trap is real, the pressure is
Real.
real, but it also gives people platforms to express themselves, right? To find communities, maybe niche groups who get them.
Ah, okay. So it can be affirming too.
It absolutely can be, especially if you feel maybe isolated offline. It can help build identity and connection. So it's not just one thing.
It's complicated.
Very. Which leads to maybe another thought question. How does social media help and hurt self-concept, often at the same time? It's rarely just good or just bad, is it? Thinking about your own use, maybe?
Definitely not clear cut. Okay, so we've covered people around us, media. What about the stuff that happens to us, our own journey? Let's talk about personal experiences, the things we actually do.
Yes, direct experience is incredibly powerful.
Our sources tell us that success is, winning something, finally learning that tricky guitar chord, getting a good grade after studying hard. They are fantastic for building confidence.
They provide concrete evidence.
Yeah, they show you what you're capable of, that I did it feeling.
It's reinforcing. It builds what psychologists call self-efficacy, the belief in your ability to succeed.
Okay, but what about failures? We all mess up. Nobody likes failing, right? And it can feel like a real blow to your self-concept in that moment.
Oh, for sure. It can sting. It can make you question yourself.
It makes you feel rubbish sometimes.
Totally. However, and this is really crucial, I think failures can also teach resilience. They can be opportunities for growth if we let them.
Okay, how does that work? How can failing make you stronger?
It often comes down to how you explain the failure to yourself, which psychologists call attribution. Do you say, I failed because I'm just bad at this, I'm not smart enough? That's damaging.
Right, like it's fixed.
Exactly.
Right.
Or do you say, okay, I failed because I didn't prepare enough, or I used the wrong strategy, or I need more practice? Those are things you can change.
Ah, so it's about seeing it as something you can work on, not just who you are.
Precisely. That mindset shift is key. It turns a setback into feedback. So this raises another important question for you to ponder. Do you tend to view your mistakes as proof of weakness or more as chances to grow and learn something important?
That's a really useful distinction. Thinking back, can you recall a time when a failure, even though it felt bad at the time, actually taught you something really valuable about yourself or maybe pushed you in a new direction?
It's often those tough moments that lead to the biggest insights, isn't it?
Absolutely. And speaking of environments where we face challenges and get feedback, let's quickly touch on school. That came up in our sources too.
Yes, the school environment and teachers are significant.
Beyond just academics, school is where we navigate a lot of social stuff, comparisons, performance pressure.
And teachers play a role. Think about it. A teacher who gives really specific, helpful feedback like, this part was great, maybe try this approach next time. That builds confidence, right?
It makes you feel like you can actually improve.
Exactly.
Right.
But contrast that with maybe very general criticism or an environment that feels super competitive all the time. that can really undermine a student's belief in their abilities.
So the whole vibe of the school, the teacher's approach, it shapes how you see yourself as a learner and maybe even socially.
Definitely. It's a major arena where self-concept gets tested and developed.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground: family, friends, media, culture, experiences, school. It's a lot of influences.
It really is a complex mix.
So what does this all mean for you, listening right now? How do you make sense of it all for yourself? Our sources actually gave us a cool idea for an activity, like a way to visualize these influences.
Oh yeah, the map idea.
Yeah. Imagine creating a personal influence map. Sounds kind of cool, right?
I like it.
So you'd put "Who am I?" right in the middle of a page. Then draw circles radiating out from it for each of these areas: family, friends, media, culture, school, personal experiences. And inside each circle, you could jot down notes or even little drawings about how that specific area influences your self-concept. Both the positive stuff, like "my friends make me feel funny," and maybe the challenging stuff, like "school sometimes makes me feel pressured."
And doing that, mapping it out, really highlights something important,
What's that?
that your self-concept is incredibly unique. Your map won't look exactly like anyone else's because your specific experiences and, crucially, how you interpret those experiences and messages, that's entirely your own.
So true. My family's influence might be totally different from yours, even if we both have families.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even if you just do this mentally, you don't need pen and paper right now. Just thinking through those circles, who or what goes in them for you, that can give you a lot of insight into why you see yourself the way you do. It helps connect the dots.
I like that. A mental map. Okay, so as we start to wrap up this deep dive, let's maybe pull out a couple of key takeaways.
Good idea.
First, and I think this is really important, your self-concept isn't set in stone. It's not like, this is me forever, especially during these teen years. It grows and changes. It's like a story that's still being written.
Absolutely. It's dynamic. Who you are today is just one chapter.
Right. And second, while all these influences, family, friends, media, school experiences, are powerful and they can be positive or negative, you actually have a choice.
A crucial choice,
Yeah, a choice in what you ultimately believe about yourself. You get to decide which messages you internalize, which voices you amplify in your own head.
which leads to a really practical question, doesn't it? How do we actively shape that story? How do we take the pen, so to speak?
Yeah, how do we do that?
Well, our sources really emphasize practicing positive self-talk. It sounds maybe a bit cheesy to sound,
Maybe a little, yeah.
but it's essentially about being your own supportive coach inside your head, rather than your harshest critic. Catching those negative thoughts and intentionally reframing them. Instead of, I'm useless at this, maybe trying, okay, this is hard, but I'm learning, or what can I try differently?
Being kinder to yourself, basically.
Exactly. And using affirmations can help ground that. Let's maybe just try a quick collective one. Wherever you are, just think or whisper it. I am learning. I am capable. I am me.
I am learning. I am capable. I am me.
Saying that to yourself and trying to feel it. It's a small step, but it builds that positive inner voice. Because it is true.
That feels good, actually. So as you go about your day after listening, maybe think about this final thought. If your self-concept is this ongoing story you're writing, what kind of story do you want it to be?
Ooh, I like that.
And following on from that, what positive influences, people, experiences, ways of thinking can you choose to bring into that story, maybe starting today, to make it feel more authentic and empowering for you?
Great question to leave folks with.
Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive. Hey there.